Dude, I'm dying right now because it took everything in me not to like say something super snarky, and I was just gonna move on. I didn't have to say anything. Dude. I'm in physical pain. Like we have to move on because I'm gonna
Oh my God.
I'm gonna freak out.
All the people that are listening to the audio version of this, I'll say 2 words, and that is Twitch chat.
I mean,
hi guys. This is the podcast. Welcome. This is absolutely 110% the first take of the podcast episode, whatever the fuck. I'm your host, Miley Cyrus,
and
pop star,
and I'm Hannah Montana.
You know, that isn't going to help the conspiracy theories around like, are they the same person? Well, no, we're not the same. I don't know why I went like full Trump there. We're totally not the same person. We're completely different. Hannah Montana is completely different than Miley Cyrus. Not even the same person. I'm the most Hannah.
This has gone so completely off the rails, and I love it so much.
This shitty podcast. This is the worst intro we've ever done.
I'm gonna leave all 3 in because I've just been recording the whole time.
You couldn't possibly do that. They're gonna kick us off of iTunes or whatever.
They will.
Oh God.
All right. What's up? How you doing?
Good. I'm just doing great. I'm just scared to look at chat because as soon as they say it's out of sync, then you're gonna start like side-eyeing chat, and I'm just gonna. Yeah. It doesn't fucking matter.
We're just gonna roll that. I got the recording, and it's all good. You know.
Oh yeah. Wait, do you have the video too?
Mm-hmm.
On your end, then we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who cares about the people watching live? Screw them.
Oh man. I can't remember. I mean, you went shooting the other day, right? Or were we talking about that pre the first intro or post the first intro as part of the episode? I can't remember.
It was pre the first intro, and then but then post the first intro.
Understood.
Yeah.
Well, you went shooting. Anyway, that's always fun. Right.
Went to the shooting range, and then I have a bruise on my fucking chest because I was reloading the bullets in the magazine, and I didn't know where it was from. And then I'm old and out of shape. What else?
Is that a new
something about Dog the Bounty Hunter? Oh yeah, I got an EOTech.
Okay.
So the 2 things I got when I went shooting, because I took my little sister and my dad to the shooting range, and I've said that 17 times already today, was I picked up some Walker's Razor.
I have those
active headphones.
Yes, I have those exact ones, and just in a different color.
Yep, they're not like the super ooper duper. Fucking sweet,
no.
But
it's insane.
I am super impressed, I guess, with what just conceptually what they do in real life and what they do in the game.
Yeah,
it's actually really they did a good job.
Yep. It's crazy.
And I guess I always assumed that they would have to like emulate what the headphones were doing, but really they're doing the same things, because all the active headphones it's effectively 2 things. It's EQ and compression.
Yeah.
So, it'll either filter out or boost different parts of the frequency spectrum, whether or not it's like, so when I first got them and I was driving to the range, I was driving down the highway, opening up the package and put them on while I was driving. And I could hear it was really annoying, the like road noise and the wind. It was just, it was quite prominent. But then if I were to clap, everything would go
Yep.
And it would totally get compressed down. And then having a conversation, I found myself with my dad in the range, like talking at a normal volume, because it has a microphone.
Yep.
And obviously the speakers inside the headphone. So when people are talking, or when you're talking, you can just talk at a normal volume and you don't have to yell. But they're like, what? Like what? And I'm like, oh shit, I guess I gotta like yell. So
They're crazy, man. Like how, yeah, exactly. That you can just like set it, and if you crank them up, you can just set it. You can just talk at a normal volume. You hear the other person. As soon as somebody shoots, it just goes out, and like you can hear. I was putting them on. I was talking, and I was just talking about how crazy it is, and I like turned the volume up, and I could hear like 20 feet behind us the very specific sound of a tire rolling slowly on gravel. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
And I was
yeah.
like, there's a car. And like, I wouldn't have been able to hear that without them. But like, even at that, you could have just totally shot a gun and it would have protected me. Like, it really is crazy. That concept of like you being able to like elevate smaller noises and be completely hearing safe. Dude, it was crazy.
I mean, yeah, I mean that really is like compression in a nutshell.
Yeah.
From audio processing standpoint. But the coolest moment for me was, you know, in between shots and everything, when everything kind of dulled down, all of a sudden I'm like, it sounds like a fucking like babbling brook, like a creek,
Yeah.
like a nice. And I'm like, it's so weird. And then like 2 seconds later, I look at the end of the range, and it actually has water. Like the water is there to like as a coolant and a lubricant on the you know the trap on the other side. I'm like, holy shit! It sounded like one of those little like Zen garden fucking
Babbling
trickling.
brook.
And I'm like that was something I looked directly at, and I don't think I ever noticed. It was only when I was looking the other way and I heard them with my fucking active headphones. I was like, wow,
Yep.
that's pretty nuts. So I'm sure that, you know, there are aspects that, you know, aren't necessarily totally realistic.
Yeah.
Especially given that Tarkov, it processes things differently, whereas it separates the tracks, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know, there's like environmental noise, and then there's like, you know, ballistic noise, and it processes environmental noise. Like it doesn't have to compress that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would guess that if they ever had like really loud thunder, that it wouldn't be compressed.
Oh yeah.
It would have to like go and fix the compact code. I'd be willing to bet you that they'd be like, oh shit, we need to, you know, add compression, because it's probably just EQ and the environmental noise, and then EQ and compression on the other stuff, because it definitely doesn't handle both things the same way.
Yeah. That's super interesting.
But yeah, so is that, and then the other little bit I got was I picked up an EOTech, and for those of you watching, it's on my shoulder, okay? It's not pointed like at my head. But yeah, so I got an EOTech, and
those things are so nice.
Dude, it's I love that you don't need to close your eyes, first of all.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me was that it behaves differently than it does in Tarkov.
Oh, okay.
And it's better. It's better in real life. The way it works in real life is almost like if you were to aim and you were to have the reticle on, you know, wherever you wanted to aim, and you move your head around, the reticle moves so that it's always on the same point. In Tarkov, when you move your head, the reticle
like floats.
It like floats around.
Interesting.
It doesn't have the same kind of parallax effect.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a kind of a problem, I guess. Like,
yeah. If you're side strafing, it's really hard in Tarkov to like keep your aim on point, because it feels like it's like bouncing and moving and not necessarily, like a direct. No matter how you look at it, you're going to be looking at the reticle where your gun's going to shoot. You know what I mean? In real life, right? Like, it's super interesting.
Well, actually, now I'm curious, because there's two different aspects. There's you moving the gun when you move, and then you moving the head as you move.
Yeah.
I would imagine that those would have different effects. Moving the gun, I would expect it to move, but that's not what you're. Well, you know. Now I'm not sure. I
mean, it's complicated. I would have no idea how to replicate all that in a video game, man. That seems insane.
Well, actually, I stand corrected. If I put it on the autograph signed photo, well, I'm not gonna say a name. That's not cool. if I move my head, it does look like it does move. There is parallax.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna have to compare it to how it is in the game because it is a little bit different. But it was much easier
Yeah.
to shoot, I guess, than I thought it was gonna be. Which I guess explains, like, if it was as shitty as I sort of expected, it wouldn't have been worth $450.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, so now I'm looking into making some other mods to the gun. I got to get rid of that sight post. I want to get a front handguard and a new stock. Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. So the only other thing that's noteworthy was I edited together a video. I'll have to send it to you. I don't know, or maybe I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram. But I edited together a video because there was a period. Well, there was a clip I had where I was shooting, fairly rapid fire.
Yeah.
And all of the bullets, the target was like one of those. He looks like an '80s porn star holding what looks like Princess Leia from like the '80s.
Yeah.
What's her name? Whatever, Carrie Fisher.
Carrie Fisher.
Hostage. So the shots, I shot like 10 rapid fire, and it was like 7 in his head. There were like 2 or 3 along her hairline that would have hit his head, and they probably wouldn't have felt good for her, but I don't think they wouldn't have killed her, and they probably would have hit him. And then there was like a couple that were like real wide. But I shot 10 shots like like really fast, and I ended up having like a little timer on the bottom and calculated it out, and it was like 8 shots per second. And that was and it was maybe, I don't know, 15 feet, 20 feet.
Yeah.
Like nothing super far. And I've never claimed to be a marksman or anything. But the fact that I was able to pull the trigger 10 times in a second, basically, it was like 1.2 seconds or something like that. And be able to hit within this area.
Yep. That far away.
It's
a good feeling.
But I took the thing, I sent it to Nikita.
Oh,
and
really?
I was like 8 shots per second, by the way, or whatever, because he's like, no one does, how fast would you shoot in real life or whatever? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I only know how fast I click. Well, I did it anyway. And it was funny, the like fucking bargaining that we went back and forth, because it was like 1 point something seconds, and I counted 10 shots, so I was like 10 shots per second. But then he said something like, okay, yeah. So I said 10 shots per second. And I said, I'm a mediocre shooter. And then he said, I'm going to need a video with a smiley face. So then I fucking edited together the video. I put it on my Instagram. And then because the frame rate of my camera was 24 frames per second, normally my footage is 60.
Yeah.
I counted the number of frames as, if there's like 8 frames, that's like 1/10 of a second.
Yeah.
When it's 60 FPS, but 24 FPS, that's 1/3 of a second. So it actually changed it to, he did a smiley face and he said more like 7. And I was like 7.8. I rounded,
Yeah.
It was just like, it was so funny. We're going back and forth. But, it just goes to show you that, you can shoot that quickly. And if I was in a fairly close quarter scenario with somebody, not within hostage, obviously, but like, not like you have hostages in Tarkov. If I'm in a hallway with someone, I'm probably going to pull a trigger that quickly.
Yeah.
Like just straight panicking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looks like too when you watch like Donut Operator, like the cop videos where there's like shootings and stuff. And one of the most recent ones actually literally had a dude. There was a car accident, and there was a guy in the car, like the assailant, and then a cop was like behind the other car that it like T-boned. And the cop like went up above and like popped a couple shots, and the dude just got out of the car with a Glock, literally ran at the guy. He was like maybe 8 feet. Ran at the guy, went bang, bang, bang as the cop was just like kind of falling down. Bang, 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 jumps over him and goes bang, 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 shoots down and literally jumps over him and is shooting down and then runs away. But then I guess you find out later on that he didn't get very far into the front yard of the yard he was in before he dropped dead because they fucking filled him full of lead.
Jesus.
The cop survived, but the other guy didn't. But it was just like someone jumping over someone shooting down at the, like.
Yeah.
that's some shit that might happen, you know.
Yep.
Maybe not with like tactical soldiers, but like two human beings in a fight.
Yeah.
You know, all kinds of crazy stuff happens.
That's crazy.
So-
That's so funny that you sent it to him with the time. Oh
I
my
spent like
god.
2 hours editing it together just for the fight. He's like, I need a video. I'm like,
I
hold my
got
beer.
you, fam. I got you.
Hold my Tarcola.
Oh my god. That's funny. Speaking of Nikita, were you able to catch any of the podcast today?
I caught a little bit of it. I watched up until that little clip I showed you where Nikita did the perfect Cartman impression. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't really miss a whole lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So like,
I guess I didn't catch a whole lot is what I meant to say.
yeah. I want to like go through some of the stuff because it's good. I've been like reflecting on the podcast a lot. Like, and I guess this will make more sense as I go. First of all, I was really excited about the podcast because it was just like it was kind of the perfect storm of people, in my opinion. Not to say that any other podcast has been bad. It's just that you've got Pestily, who wants to keep it. He understands and respects Nikita's time. He doesn't want to be sitting on one thing for too long. He's obviously very knowledgeable about the game. You've got Nice Guy, who, in my opinion, is the de facto like encyclopedia about everything that's ever been said about Escape from Tarkov. Like, that's his niche. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Pestily knows everything about the game and can kill you with every gun. Like, Nice Guy knows, like, in 2017 in October in this podcast, Nikita said this. That doesn't necessarily mean it's what's up to date now, but at least that's he just has the info. So he's not going to ask a question that's been asked because he knows what's been asked. You've got Axel, who can speak perfect and fluent Russian. So throughout the whole podcast, every time Nikita got tripped up, he would just say it and then Axel would translate. It was like this perfect little foursquare of dudes that all like represented a different thing. So I was like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And, I've been thinking about this a lot, man, where it feels like I left the podcast like excited about the information that we had, but like feeling like a little bit like there wasn't any like magic, we didn't learn anything new or crazy. And I was just thinking about it and I was like, man, I feel like the honeymoon phase of Tarkov is over. Like, you remember how like every podcast back in the day used to be like, it was crazy exciting. There would always be like Nikki leaks. He would always have a folder. He was showing us new stuff. Like, and it was just like, oh my God, this game. It's so, I feel like a lot of people have been poo-pooing on a lot of the podcasts recently. And I feel like it's just, we need to like shift expectations. Like, Nikita and the team are very decidedly, and they've stated a lot of times that they're like trying to reach the finish line, right? So they're not going to come out and blow our minds with like, oh, and we're going to add freaking, pickup trucks that you can drive from map to map. There isn't any of that left. Everything that's going to be in the game that they want to talk about, because he talked about wanting to there be surprises and stuff, they've talked about. I think it's all on the table. They're not going to tell us anything more. So we do the podcast, and it's really just like, what's the status of this? What's the status of that? What's the status of this? We get a few little nuggets about like, oh, we didn't know Lighthouse was going to be like that. And then the podcast is over. And I feel like so often that's not meeting people's expectations, but it is not at the fault of the like podcasters or Nikita. It's just like that honeymoon phase of every single bit of information we can get about Tarkov being new and exciting and mind-blowing is just over. And it's really just like, okay, what's the status of this stuff? This is the status of those things. Cool. We'll talk to you again in a few weeks. Like, you know what I mean? So I just left feeling like a little like I wanted some magic, but then as I was thinking about it, I was like, there isn't anything left. Like, they're just trying to close it up, man. You know what I mean? They're trying to close it up. And so, I don't know. I just felt like that was a realization for me that, and that's okay, but it's just like, we shouldn't be expecting just like mind-blowing stuff anymore,
Yeah, I mean, I think what comes to mind is in response to what you're saying, because I mean, obviously it makes total sense, and I hadn't really thought about it like that. But we have to consider that what we have are, if there's 4 people on the podcast with Nikita included, then there's three people who really only effectively know what everybody else knows collectively.
Yeah.
Guiding the conversation. And then Nikita's mostly answering questions.
Yeah.
Where I feel like that's where maybe some of the like, or at least maybe I can only speak for myself. I don't, what the community thinks and feels. That's like, what does the American public feel about healthcare? Yeah, okay. How fucking long do you have, for this conversation? But it almost makes more sense that Nikita would be on with like a community manager, whatever, and he would say, here are the 7 things that we've been working on that you guys need to know about. We know you're concerned about this, this, and this. Here's what you need to talk about. Whatever, and let's break it down and have Nikita there to answer technical questions and concerns. But it should be battle state
100%
driving
100%. I couldn't agree more. You know what I mean? Like I do. Yeah, I guess I was looking through the lens of like what we normally have, and I was looking at through the lens of like it was a great podcast given the state that Tarkov is in. But if we take a higher and take a 10,000-foot view of it, I completely agree. Like I know that it's annoying to some people that I always use the most controversial game as my gold standard for development, and that is Star Citizen. But like every week they do a show, and there's like Inside Star Citizen, and there's this and that. There's like 4 different shows they do, and there's never any streamers on. It is always led by them. It's like, hi, I'm Jared. Today we're talking to the art team, and they're talking to us about this. And it's these ships that people have been wondering about and questions about. And here's where it is. And here's the thing. Bop, bop, bop. And then next week we're here with, Jared from the audio team, and they're talking like boom. And it's always led by them. And I agree that it's like, I wish there was definitely a moment where that could have happened today, because like Pestily was like, the podcast started and Pestily was like, okay, you mentioned that you wanted to talk about the end game, the prestige system, and like prolonging the early wipe. Like, well, what did you have in mind, Nikita? And Nikita basically like flipped it and was like, yeah, let me know any of your questions. So I think Pestily was almost like, I think he thought that was how it was going to be, where like Nikita was like wanted to kind of lead some discussion about some things. And I think that it was like Nikita more just thought that was what the community wanted to hear about. So he was like, ask away, you know what I mean? And we can talk. And so, but I would love that.
To be fair, it's way easier to do that
for
than
sure.
Like, have to prepare something. I mean, honestly, that's like it's what I did today for this podcast was like, well, I didn't see the podcast, so Jesse's just going to talk and I'm going to respond. Like the ball's in your court when it comes to that stuff, right? Yeah. So like Nikita does not have to do anything other than just be honest and talk about what people want to know about.
For sure.
But, the alternative is I know when I used to when I was in the software world, I could sit and we'd have meetings and I could talk about anything at any time, that I was knowledgeable about in meetings or whatever. But as soon as they were like, okay, and also during the Friday demos with all of engineering, you're going to be, talking about this thing. And I'm like, well, there goes 10 hours bullet pointing out like a Veritas science video, like exactly the, now that I realize it, maybe that's where a lot of my
your like thesis around making videos formed was like
around making videos, presentations, public speaking. Well, not public speaking necessarily, but like formulating a coherent message
and communicating
getting it out.
That message. Yeah.
Because I used to be the guy that would do demos. We'd have a team of 25 people, but I was always like the guy that was like,
that's funny.
Go up there and do the demo, and everybody always loved it, even though like everybody in all of the the whole company, like they're all way smarter than me and better engineers than me, but most of them like they're got mustard all over their shirts and they haven't showered in a couple of days and they don't have the greatest public speaking. I mean, that's obviously that's not fair, but
no, I know
there are engineers and then there are engineers. I'm just a fake engineer, meaning that I
totally know what you mean.
Have public speaking skills, but no chops.
Anyways, I get the sentiment of what you're trying to say, which is that like just because we wish that there was more BSG led communication doesn't mean that it's easy, and it doesn't mean that it's like, of course, like Nikita would it's easier for him to say like, hey, And we should be appreciative that he does that. He says, hey, I'll take 2 hours out of my day at 9 p.m. in Russia, 9 to 11, and jump on a call, you know what I mean? But, just let me know. So I get it. Obviously, of course, I'm not trying to feel entitled. In a perfect world, I would love communication led by them because, as somebody in chat stated earlier, like it oftentimes devolves. Like today was great because it didn't on the podcast, but like I actually, like, one of my only messages I typed in chat today was like, Twitch chat is wild, KEKW. Like, I was just trying to be like, you all suck. Like, because they're trying, it is the same question. It's absolutely unreal. So it just always devolves back to that as opposed to just like, hey, this is what we're talking about today. But that being said, that was just my preface to the podcast of like a realization that I had that, and it wasn't not a bad or depressing and exciting realization, but just that the magic of the Nikki leaks and all that stuff. It's like, man, we kind of understand what's coming and the big parts of it, and all we're really here to talk about is like, a lot of the thesis behind why these changes are being made, when they're happening, how they're being implemented, and what's being currently tested. You know what I mean? So, but obviously they talked a lot about 12.12 and the patch. Like, I know it's gotten a little confusing in the whole, like, 12.12 is going to have Lighthouse, and then at one point he kind of alluded maybe splitting them, and then today he seemed that it was like the plan is still this year 12.12, Lighthouse, Inertia, VoIP, the new weapon malfunctions, new guns, and he alluded a lot throughout the podcast that there's quite a bit more that they haven't told us that they want to just leave in as a surprise. He talked about the ballistic rework too. That's coming. Like, he didn't give us any more information about it, but the ballistic rework is coming in 12.12 as well. So that was actually kind of exciting because at this point, I was starting to bet in my head that some of those things were going to get cut. You know what I mean? It's like November, you know what I mean? And so it's like, we're at the point now where it's like, in my head, I was like, all right, they're like, all right, we're going to, VoIP, but Inertia, we're going to have to push, like, you know what I mean? But he seemed to say that it's all still coming. It was, I mean, in general, he had, in my opinion, he had a tone of like really like excitement that like 12.12 is going to be really content heavy, that, throughout 2022, they're really pushing, like finalizing a lot of the technical limitations, and they're going to be able to push stuff out. And that, you know what I mean? A lot of the stuff I talked at length about how a lot of this stuff is going to change the game fundamentally, Inertia, VoIP, a lot of that stuff. So I don't know, man, it's interesting. He talked a lot about how they're in the end of year crunch time, no weekends. Today was a holiday. He said the whole art team was in there working on animations and stuff for like the boss and Lighthouse and stuff.
Developers I do not envy.
Yeah, dude. He said they have more features in 12.12 they don't want to talk about. They're hoping, like, an expressed hope was that this patch would kind of fundamentally change the game. Like, they're expecting that a lot of these things, like we've talked about, are going to change how the game is played. They talked about, and Pestily talked a lot about this, about how like it'll be really interesting to see how the dailies and weeklies make the wipe feel. Like that is truly like a feature. We've talked a lot about how in the past, like a wipe with a map and 2 new guns is a worthless wipe, like nothing changed. But like the dailies and the weeklies are actually going to pretty greatly affect how progression is, and it gives more player choice. Like, and Nikita talked about that, and he was like, if you don't want to do this, Jaeger task because you just like absolutely hate it, but you want to get the Jaeger rep up enough to get level 4, well, now there's another way to do that. So there's going to be a lot more player choice. I don't even think we talked about it because it happened between the last podcast, but did you see that they added weekly tasks? Like,
yeah, I did. It looked like they were basically conceptually identical to daily tasks. They're just bigger rewards, longer term challenges or whatever.
Yeah.
Actually, on a completely related but short interjection, after the podcast last week, remember how I was stoked?
Yeah.
I played 2 raids and then I was done. I did 1 raid and I don't remember what. I honestly don't even remember what happened. I think I just like disconnected. It was like something really just like annoying, like, oh my god. And then the next raid, I rolled up into interchange and then like came up on Killa, and then shot him like 50 times, and he just, power slid in and one tapped me in the chest with BS, and it was like, oh yeah, that's right. This is why I don't want to play Tarkov right now, and just went right back to Magic.
The daily quests are cool, but this is why. This is why. Yeah. I think the weekly quests are pretty sick. Yeah, conceptually, it's not that much of a departure, from the daily quests, but I like it. I'm all about options, man. I think it's cool because I have done maybe 10% of my daily quests since they've come in because I don't want to accept ones I know I'm not going to do. And at this point, I just can't be bothered. Like early wipe when I'm seeking out that XP, great. But like this, I just can't be bothered to go survive 8 interchanges if I was talking to Stealable and we wanted to play customs tonight. I'm not going to change the plan, so I'm just not going to accept it. But like my weekly task was, find a bunch of cigarettes and some golden G phones for 300,000 experience and 1 million rubles. And it's like, oh, that's amazing. Like,
yeah, I think it's going to be, I'm in a nutshell, I don't give a fuck right now about it, but I know that it's going to make when it wipes that much more exciting, and there's just going to be more to do. It's not going to be like when you replay Skyrim over again, you're like, oh, I got to go through the cutscenes with the fucking dragon in the beginning and all. Like you just hate going through that all over again to where, it's almost like level 40 is like where you finally beat like the main, quest line and have some decent gear, and you're like, now I can play the game. Yeah,
it will, and it'll be interesting to see that go through, and like you don't have to be doing some of those like more annoying quests if you don't want to. So he talked about how the second iteration of the quest generator is being worked on. So that was like a month, 2 months ago, they implemented a patch, and one of the patch notes was that like the quest generator. We were all like, oh, I wonder what that is. Turns out that was for the daily, weekly quests. And they're saying that they're like working on the second kind of iteration on that, which is what I'm assuming is just going to make everything a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more doable. No 80-meter scav kills on factory, and just like they, make it better, which is fine. That's great. They had originally talked about doing monthly quests too, but they talked about how like that's kind of ridiculous, and that is what morphed into what will be what they're calling global tasks, and that could be and this was like in the theory craft stage, but they talked about a lot of cool things where globally across the game, it's like, can the USEX, first faction to kill 10,000 of the other faction and something happens, or if the players can sink a billion rubles in this amount of time into this, it'll trigger, Killa being on every map or something. And just like, they were just theorycrafting a lot of stuff they could do where the global missions are like community-wide thing that everybody is working towards something for some reward for everybody. And I thought that was, because I think monthly tasks is ridiculous. And that's a much cooler use of that time.
For sure. I don't see there being any value to monthly tasks. But yeah, no, that seems super cool. And I feel like conceptually it could be like a lot of fun and add, another layer. I do have a prediction that they are going to, my prediction that I'll say here and now, we'll see if I'm right or not, but I bet you that at least initially they're going to get the numbers wrong by like orders of magnitude. Like they're going to be like 1 billion rubles, and then like 4 people are going to do it. Like, I mean, how many streamers have, fucking like Hyperrad has like what 300, 400 million or whatever, like a couple months ago when I was looking at like, I have a feeling like they're not gonna get it right.
It'll be hard to get, but but I wouldn't know how to get it right either. I wouldn't know how to anything for like a kill count or a ruble count. But I agree.
They have the thing is they have all the information.
Yeah, I guess that's true. The analytics and stuff.
So they should be able to figure out like, whatever the median is multiplied by whatever, like, if it were me, like to spend 1 billion rubles on something, that sounds like a massive amount, but
if we're talking globally, it's not that much at all.
I mean, no, that's just what is that? 1,000 million?
Yes.
Yeah, that's 1,000 people would dump 1 million in one day.
Yeah.
In one day, you would get that, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, is it going to have to be 1 trillion? That's 1,000
billion.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
500 billion? Like, what are the numbers? They're gonna have to really figure it out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it'll be interesting because now at this point, it's like when you have 300 million rubles, there's no fucking point to having all that money, really. So if you're gonna dump it there, first of all, I feel like you would need. I almost feel like they're gonna need some sort of incentive, like an individual incentive. Like if you can contribute 100 million to the pot, you'll get like an armband, like a golden armband or something.
Because
so just to identify that, like, you know, you're the the top 3 charity donators get a free thing, that kind of thing. You know,
100%. I think something like that. Yeah, the top 3, the top 5 contributors get something, or a care package from Prapor or something, because yeah, well then if nobody else is doing it, or if anybody else is only given 50,000 rubles, and then some dude comes in with 500 million, you know what I mean?
Because once you dump that, if there's not like a leaderboard, or that, like, you don't get any credit for it. If you're not a content creator, you literally, what are you going to do? Go to Reddit and be like, I was the guy that, and people are going to say, prove it. You know, like, there's just, I don't know. I feel like they should keep that in mind.
For sure.
Because very rarely do people do things selflessly.
I mean, yeah. Speaking of quests and stuff like that, he talked about for a little bit, because Nice Guy asked him, like, how the storyline quests will kind of completely overhaul questing in general, like how the dailies, how we get them, how we get the side quests, in what order we get the side, like, and by side quests I mean the quests we have now. Like, he was saying that, like, that is going to kind of be like a big linchpin that basically just changes the way that we get quests, which we've kind of known for a while. He said this, so I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not there, so I'm not breaking any NDA. But he said that they're, like, really close to be testing VoIP on the ETS servers. Yeah. I was like, I wrote that down in all caps in my notes, bro. I was like, VoIP on ETS soon. Because I don't know if you have been messing around with that at all, but they have been testing some other features that we have been excited about as well. They're
on ETS.
Yes, like, they're using it, and they're using it. They're using it well. They're doing a very good job at not being like BSG, being overly public, like tweeting, like, go check ETS for VoIP, and somehow, some way, the community is keeping a tight lid on it. I mean,
I'm in the fucking ETS, like, program, and I don't even know where. I mean, maybe it's just because I'm, like, a bad member, but it's like, I've never known. I'm not going to go and play it because I don't know that there's any reason to play it.
Yeah, but you should check it out.
If we're both in the thing, can you tell me? You must be able to tell me.
Yeah.
You can't just make it. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Well,
yeah.
Just you tell me where to look.
All right.
And
but VoIP on ETS soon, and explicitly VoIP is still planned for 12/12, and maybe not explicitly, but very much so insinuated that 12/12 is still the premier thing that's going to be happening this year. Like, so
now remind me again, have they said anything? I mean, because everybody's going to start asking me, and I've just been, like, toning it out. Have they said anything about a wipe?
Nick, I mean, Pesley just straight up was like, so, like, 12/12 is going to wipe, right? You know what I mean? And he was like, I mean, I don't know. Like, he said he didn't know, but I would bet that it will wipe. And
it's been 129 days since last week. Oh shit! I just realized that Battle Buddy has 600,000 installs.
Jesus.
600,409 Battle Buddies have joined the fight.
Oh my god.
God, and I don't monetize it. Am I the biggest idiot? I am. I think I probably am.
I bet, like, at least 10,000 of those are from. I use your app all the time in my YouTube videos, all the time. That's great.
Well, I'll give you a portion of my profits.
Yeah. How many days? You said 111 days since the wipe?
129. I already forget.
Yeah. So we're definitely not, like, we've definitely departed from, like, oh, it's been 6 months, we should wipe. Like, I think 2 wipes ago, it was almost 9 months was the wipe, and then the last wipe happened, like, right at the 6 month mark. Like, I think we're pretty deep into it, but I have a hard time thinking it won't, which makes me really happy and really sad at the same time. But when you think about like a few of the features don't require a wipe, like inertia, you wouldn't need a wipe for that. If anything, I would think it would be interesting to see how inertia affects level 1 character, a level 20 character, like, level 1 strength and level 50 strength. Like, you know what I mean? How much does that change? Because I'm assuming inertia is based on weight, and the strength skill dramatically changes how much weight you have on you. You know what I mean? So that would just be interesting. And then like VoIP doesn't explicitly need a wipe either. But I think when you stack up all the things, a new map, new guns, new jams, new mechanics, VoIP, inertia, new quests.
Just like skill progression, quest progression, like that's enough to like want to just like start everybody from scratch.
On top of the addition of daily quests and weekly quests, which will fundamentally change how somebody gets 1 to 40. I just have a hard time thinking that at this point they're going, every single one of these features in a vacuum is not enough to wipe. We can test this feature without a wipe. But with all of these features being dropped at once, let's just reset it and see how it goes.
I think here's the thing. There's so much to learn that they need to learn about progression and like time and XP and all of those things. They're always tweaking these knobs, but it's always like in the middle of wipes, and it's always so ignoring all of the reeing that casuals are gonna, or not even just casuals, just like anybody who's upset because they think it's like unfair or whatever. Ignoring all of that stuff, it really is like, if they want to test progression from start to finish, as soon as like a critical mass of like 5-10% of people like get there, at that point it's like, we've collected the information we need, let's iterate and start over. It's like, if you want to know how, if you have 1 million people all in a race and you want to know how all these different people are going to perform in a race, you don't have a bunch of people all start, and then when you get a bunch of other people, you just say, oh, okay, we started the race 7 years ago. You just start now. You start everybody at the fucking starting line. Because then that's the only way you can measure if the track and the number of people on the track, and if it makes sense, and if it's scaled correctly. And so, like, I'm all for, and I know people are like, well, then I'll just play 3 days a week, and then it'll wipe, and I'll have to start over. Well, if that's the case, then you didn't make any fucking progression anyway. So I don't know. Like,
I mean, there's definitely like, I know what you mean, and I would almost prefer expectation being set. You know what I mean? If it was just like we wipe on every 3 months, the first of, you know what I mean? It's just like boom, and that way, if you are frustrated at that and you don't play enough to make any progression, you'll just not play, which is, you know what I mean, go to play another game, or you play with the understanding and expectation that it's going to wipe and I'm going to see how far I can get. I mean, I'm not saying I necessarily want that, because as somebody that plays a lot, I'm really tired of doing those same quests over and over again, and I like don't want to do them. But the expectation being set would just be so nice.
From an engineering and testing standpoint, it would be optimal. If by the time 17 people got to level 40 and you were like, how many hours did it take? What was the average? Whatever, because it doesn't matter if you play 100 hours a week versus 1 hour a week. You can still extrapolate that it would just take that person 100 times longer. But how many raids did they do? How many quests did they do? Because that's all still relevant and it scales. And if they need to tweak something, fucking tweak it, and then I mean, maybe not start fresh. I don't know. I mean, there's an argument that can be made both ways, but
for sure,
I feel like we need to stop thinking about. Not stop thinking about. We need to remind people that the reason, like the closer we get to completion, the closer all of the really high level big things that involve a lot of moving parts and tweaking knobs. How much they're gonna have to tweak something and then start over and tweak something. And it's like, think about it. It's metaphor time. Yes. It's like oh my god, not the shit.
Tarkov is like a cake. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, no. But I mean, it's think about it like a recipe. Where you're making something, and as you adding ingredients, you're tasting it, and at some point you might realize either this is good and I want to replicate this, or we need to make changes. But you're not gonna you're just gonna dump it out and start fresh because like, oh, I put too much fucking paprika in.
Yeah.
Now it's just ruined, right? Like, you know, so start over. You kind of have to think about it like that, and they're trying to refine their recipe, and they're operating blind, right?
Yeah.
So
no,
I don't know.
I get it. I totally get it. I think once again, I think that could also come down to like, not come down. Once again, I think the communication from BattleState could be a little bit clearer around wipe time. You know what I mean? When they're like, I feel like it would just, I don't know. There's no way you make everybody happy, but I'm just, you've heard me say it a million times. I'm just the biggest fan of like setting better expectations, right? You know what I mean? Like if they release patch notes and at the top of the patch notes, it says there's going to be a wipe, multiple features in the wipe, including this, this, and this, mean that we want to wipe because we are looking at these things. During this wipe, we'll be looking at how quickly progression happens, this, that, and the other, and that information will determine when the next wipe is. If that's at the top, like at the top,
here's the thing, it's not going to change anything
specific to the features in this patch. I feel like that would be dope.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: the people that are going to be butthurt when people like when the streamers are like, "All right, it wiped, and here are all the changes," and they're mad about the changes. Those are the people that are going to be butthurt when they say, "Okay, let's set expectations. This is what we're doing." They're just going to be butthurt earlier with the expectation setting, right?
Yes.
It's so it's when do you make which people upset?
Yeah, I guess.
Do you make group A upset early or group B upset later or vice versa? So
I don't know. I don't know. Either way, they haven't said explicitly that it will or won't. I'm imagining it will. In my head, it makes sense that it will. I just so selfishly hate wiping when we get a new map. That makes me so mad. It makes me so sad. I want to progress. I want to do the things. I don't want to be going to customs finding shotguns when Lighthouse is out. And I hate that, dude. I hate it so much. And this is selfish. This is like JesseKazam rant. But like,
well, that's actually interesting.
The first 11 quests are like, the first 40 quests are customs, woods, shoreline, customs, woods, shoreline, customs, woods, shoreline. You have to do stuff there. And I don't want to go play Lighthouse for a month with all of my crappy gear, fall behind, and then have to go back and do the quests. But now I'm going to be doing the quest. All I'm going to be thinking about is wanting to play Lighthouse. And I hate it so much. But here's the thing.
I mean, that's actually like something really interesting that I think we can take something from. Like, there's no reason why it should be like that. And it's the reason why customs is fucking insane for the first couple weeks. And then all of a sudden it's dead and Shoreline is popping off and it's so weird how whenever I played Shoreline, everybody's all rocking blue helmets and pressed ADARs or M4s or whatever. And it's like, it's no coincidence that just like everybody's on the same wave, the same trends, you know, over and over and over again. So, but imagine if like, and maybe, you know, I'm sure that there's a bunch of overlapping in this Venn diagram around like the quest changes and monthly quests and weekly quests and, you know, whatever they're doing. But there's just no reason why it needs to be like that. Like you should be able to say, I want to take this quest and this quest, and the quest should either allow you to go anywhere. Yeah. Or in any given week of playing should have you going all over the place. Yeah. You know, there's no reason why the first 10 quests all need to be on customs. The only reason why you'd want that, well, here's the thing. All of the early quests, almost all of them, are the oldest quests. Yes. And they're all on the maps that existed back when they were made in the beginning, when there was 2 maps. And then, you know,
as the game was developing and as a new map would come out, they would put new quests at what was at that point the end of the quest chain to go to those maps. And it's like, go to all these maps. But now Lighthouse is the last map and we'll have wiped, which it means it's going to take me a month to get a Lighthouse quest, but all I want to do is play Lighthouse, but I don't want to fall behind.
Dude, think about it. What are the, other than Woods being the outlier, but actually there weren't many quests on Woods ever to begin with until the expansion. So now think about it. What's the order that you do the quests in? Customs? Yeah. Shoreline? Yep. Because that was the first big, I mean, there's like nothing really, there's not a whole lot on Factory, but like, and not a whole lot on Woods yet, but it was Customs, shoreline, and then interchange,
Yep.
and then woods,
Yep. Reserve.
and then reserve. It's literally, I mean, of course there's like some sprinkling in between there, but really it's just a vestige of how they implemented it. And there's no reason why, the only reason why it's like that is because it was always like that, and that's the way it was when they did it. That's more of like a bottom up versus a top down approach.
Yeah. I mean, I would love it. I'd freaking love it if like you know what I mean? The day one of the wipe, freaking Ragman gives me some Lighthouse missions, bro. Like, let's go do it. I think the problem with that is like the like kind of, you know, circle is we go back to like, I mean, it would kind of be cool, but the problem with that is like if it's your first quest, some of the quests are like go find the document. You know what I mean? And it's like we all know where it is because we have the wiki. And if that was your first quest and you didn't have any other quests, you'd be on Lighthouse just running around looking for the document. You know what I mean? And you can't unlock the next quest until you do that quest. So it's.
But yeah, what does that tell you? That's a shitty fucking quest.
Oh, I'm with you for sure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
So
it feels like they're going to. It feels like they're going to wipe, most likely. And if I'm honest with myself, that makes sense. I just have a very personal, like I wish that they would do wipes and then, you know what I mean, the 4 to 5 month later, you know, or maybe the 3 month later patch is the map and then a wipe. You know what I mean? Like I
feel like that would be because I don't really care about questing all over again. I mean, and everybody's different, but like if I were to get back into Tarkov, I would want to go into you know, what the hell is the new map?
Lighthouse.
Streets or Lighthouse, and like, well, I guess streets or Lighthouse.
Yeah.
And like, I want to walk around and search every box and go to every room and look through every. But there's no. Why would I do that if I have an HK and a fort armor and a fast empty? I'm gonna be looking for combat. So it's like, I guess I like that way more when all I have is a pilgrim. Sorry, not a pilgrim. A fucking scav backpack.
Yeah.
And like an SKS. And I'm like looking for cigarettes again and whatever. Like I want to explore, and the best way to explore is to walk around and loot stuff.
Yeah, so, you're not wrong.
I feel like that would be the best way to experience it. Maybe not to progress as fast as possible, but
it's totally a subjective thing, which is why I was just saying it's like my opinion. It's just JesseKazam rants because I would play it so much slower. Like right now, like if they drop Lighthouse right now, I'd play it infinitely slower and more. But early wipe, I feel I get the anxiety, the like I don't want to. It's not that
that's a content creator anxiety though,
yeah,
right? That's
for
not
sure.
like the player anxiety.
Well, I mean, and a little bit of both. I don't like feeling I'm not accomplishing the goal. You know what I mean? Like I this wipe, even though Kappa was at 72, I quested until I got the collector. And then I was like, okay. Like, I just feel like if there's a goal, I need to be doing it. And I feel stressed when I'm not doing it. So I would play, like, what's most likely going to happen, unless I, like, really will myself to do it, is they'll release 12.12 with Lighthouse and a wipe. I'll do, like, an offline Lighthouse or two to just, like, go see the map, walk around with the AI off and just, like, explore. And then I'll just start on customs and I'll start my thing. You know what I mean? And once again, subjective here. You know what I mean? Very, very much so Jesse. Because as much as I don't want to be doing the quests, at the same time, I want the stuff that it unlocks, right? Like I want to use my MP5 SD, which you have to unlock through a Peacekeeper quest. If you want 762 BP, you have to unlock that through a quest. If you want Jaeger, you have to quest even just to unlock Jaeger. You know what I mean? I want the traders leveled up. So I'm going to quest. I don't want to quest, but I'm gonna because I want those things. You know what I mean? So,
yep.
Anyways, what were we even talking about? Oh yeah, VoIP. So VoIP on ETS tune. The Unity. Once again, he said this. So if it's breaking NDA, he said it. He said Unity 2019 is currently being tested on the ETS. I didn't know that, but that's what he said though.
I'm gonna have to install the ETS again.
He said that the Lighthouse. He said this was really cool. He was saying that he was really excited that the Lighthouse has a lot of brand new and specific assets built for Lighthouse. Like, you know, not just a completely like we're taking these assets from customs and reserve and this and that, but that like the art team had been like working on some really specific assets. And he said that it looks really good. He talked a little bit about how Lighthouse will be broken up. He said Lighthouse is going to be released in 2 segments, like most of the maps have. You know what I mean? Like iterated on. And the first pass at Lighthouse will be the entire map except the lighthouse. like where the actual lighthouse is.
Bait and switch.
Yeah, won't be explorable, but the rest of the map will be explorable, and that there won't be any bosses yet. And then we also knew that there was going to be our first in-raid trader on Lighthouse. He will not be in the first iteration either. And that the second iteration will open up the Lighthouse. He said that there are a total of 4 scav bosses on Lighthouse. They will be in and the second trader. The in-raid trader. And apparently the sniper boss that we've known about for a long time is like his job is to protect the trader, and that we will need some sort of like card, like a lab access card, but like for Lighthouse, or some sort of pass basically to gain access to him, to like call off the sniper guy so that you can get into the Lighthouse, so that you can go talk to this trader. So it won't be like a trader that you can just like run up to every time. You know what I mean? You just can't just like run up to him. It's almost like a lab style event where you have to like get a thing, a thing, and
What's
then
the fucking UI look like?
Bro, come on.
It's probably just going to be a box that you loot, but when you take
Yeah.
the thing, you just trade rubles.
Yeah. I don't know. But I would imagine that's why that's not coming in the first iteration of
They're
like
probably like, oh shit, we got to figure out how.
we gotta make
to
a
do-
UI. They got the dude all modeled, and then they have the build, and you run up to him, and it's like, well, what do I do now? And it's like, oh, we forgot.
You're just in the stash UI, standing there out in the open
Yeah.
with no cover. Like, yeah.
So 4 bosses, an in-raid trader, but that's not coming in the first thing. But that's exciting. Any new map is going to be cool. The armored train extract will be on Lighthouse as well. And eventually what they'll want to do is like put like mounted guns on the train, so you can like shoot at people as you're leaving, he said. I don't know, that was cool. But we get into kind of some random stuff. People were asking about the game and how much it's changed, and he was saying that the other day he found the original design document that was like written by the team in like 2016 or whatever, and he said it's like 98. He said he read through it, and it was like 98% done. He's like, almost every single thing on the original design document that we wanted to put in is in, but the game has changed so much. Like, it's evolved so much through community feedback, the popularity of the game, the vision, and the budget increasing. So he was saying that to say,
is it on paper or is it like a Google Doc? He needs to print that out, sign it, and like, he'd probably sell it for $500,000.
Yeah.
Like raise it for charity or something.
Dude. But he was saying that like the point he was making was that like people say that like the vision is like that, like people saying that it's like feature creep and they haven't done anything that they originally set out to do. And he was saying it's the opposite. All these features that you think that you are missing are features we've added along the way, and what we really originally set out to do, we've basically done. That doesn't mean the game is done, but it just means it's kind of the opposite. Somebody asked,
when I first started playing Tarkov in 2018, 2017, whatever, none of this stuff was on the radar.
Yeah.
It was like they're gonna add more maps, more guns, and they're gonna like do breach and clear, and then the game is done.
Yeah.
Like, you had quests, you had a few menu options that were like blurred out, but all it was going into the maps, doing quests, and like raiding and killing and looting.
Mm-hmm.
I was never like, when's VoIP? When am I gonna get a compass? When am I gonna get in the flea market? Like, none of that.
Yep.
That's not why any of us started playing. Any of us, yeah.
Yep. Somebody randomly asked him about the the 3rd episode was great, by the way. I'm so excited for the 4th episode because I think that's when you're gonna start, like when I was playing. I'm super excited. The I stabbed him clip is so good.
It's the best. It's the best clip in all of Tarkov ever.
It's the GOAT. It's the GOAT. I stabbed him. This was like super random and, in my opinion, dumb. He was asked, so they were talking about the kill cam, you know what I mean? Being able to like watch how you died back. And he made this like nobody talked about it. We didn't go any deeper than this. It was like this super passive thing. and he was like, yeah, we want it all centered around like realistic in-game mechanics. The kill cam will be something you have to purchase and attach to your helmet, and then watch the footage back in your hideout. And I was like, what? I was like, okay, so if I have replay buffer in OBS, it's gonna be the kill cam. Like, I don't know.
What?
Nobody asked about it, man. I couldn't. They
talk about immersion breaking. That's like, oh, hello, ma'am. Your husband was killed in fucking action. He had a GoPro. You want the fucking footage of him his last moments?
I mean, I don't want to come down on it too hard. I think it is really cool as a concept to keep it all like down to earth and in raid and stuff like that. But I think what I think is funny is that that's just a departure from what the people want when they ask for a kill cam. That is like, I want to know where that mofo was who sniped me. Not just, basically a freeze frame of my last image I saw. Like, the whole point is I couldn't see him, right? Like,
here's,
you know what I mean?
I'm skeptical and cynical at the same time, where I think that 80% of the time people are just like, that motherfucker was cheating and I want to see him flick on me, fly through the air and shoot through 19 walls. And I want proof of it. Like, I think that's why a lot of people want, because like, and again, I'm just being cynical. There are, and I kind of have to roll my eyes. There are a lot of people that are like, well, I just want to know where I get shot from so that I can learn. And it's like, I feel like some people are just lying to themselves about that.
Yeah.
Some people actually believe it, but then think about it. Oh, the guy was over by that tree.
Yeah.
There's nothing actionable there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's 19 things in cover and I got shot from one of them. What am I going to learn? The next time I go and run from one building to another building, make sure I check tree number 7.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rarely,
I get it.
Unless you see that you get killed from the same place every time. But again, that's only useful assuming that
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't care if there is a kill cam in the game or not. I just found it funny that it was another one of the things where the community's like, this would be cool. And then they were like, well, how could we make that in Tarkov? What if we did this? And everybody's like, that is literally not in any way what we asked for. You know what I mean? So I really just thought it was funny. I have no skin in the kill cam game. I don't care. I use replay buffer. I tell people to use replay buffer. It doesn't use any money, much like resources on your computer. You get to watch it back a lot of times, see, oh, he was up there, I didn't see. I just thought,
what would actually be, there's a couple different versions that they could do of this that I think would fix a lot of the issues that people have. Because whenever someone brings up kill cam, they all instantly, everybody says, no, you can't have a kill cam because Call of Duty. It's like,
yeah,
I just feel like I'm watching like Charizard's the best Pokemon. No, Blastoise is the best Pokemon.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, kids, let's have a real conversation. The second thing that people say is, well, then it's just going to provide an advantage for squads, because then you're going to be able to say the guy was here and whatever. And it's, almost like the equivalent of like stream sniping from the,
yeah.
And it's like, situationally, that'll be the case. But honestly, I don't think that would be a huge problem, because honestly, when your boy dies, chances are at that point, you pretty much vast majority of the time know where the threat's coming from, unless it was like a 600-meter shot with a silent sniper.
Yeah.
Like,
I will say, as somebody who plays Woods a lot, that would be a huge advantage on Woods.
Okay, so but even
I
so,
see
that, again, it just assumes that that when people ask for kill cam, it's like the people that say, well, oh, you could just use it, they just assume that, like, well, yeah, but you're not, like, obviously a game like Tarkov, it's not going to be accessible.
Yeah.
As like an instant replay right after you die before the screen fades to black, like Call of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Like it should just be taken as a given that we've all considered and talked about it, that like it would have to be for informational purposes after the fact, maybe when the raid is over or whatever the fuck. Like, let's just throw all that bullshit out the window, because it's just pointless. It really comes down to whether or not you, like, how do you get that information? Does it make sense in the lore of the game? Is it actually useful? Is it actually interesting? And you have to ask, do you think that you could tell if someone was cheating when looking at it? And I think
Yeah.
a lot of people, I think it's like, here's the deal. The things that anti-cheat would catch, the blatant shit that's obvious, you don't need a kill cam for. The anti-cheat is already like, it already has the ability to detect shooting through walls, instant flicking to whatever. Like if it's obvious in a kill cam, like truly obvious, not obvious to you, but truly obvious, then the the anti-cheat should have enough information to like reconcile that. Otherwise, I don't trust the average person to look at gameplay and to say that was sus or that was definitely a cheater.
That's what I was going to say. That I completely agree. I saw this funny Warzone clip. I saw a super funny Warzone clip of this guy trying to snipe at somebody, and he was like so bad. He like sniped and it went like way high over the guy, and then he tried to snipe again and it didn't even come close. And then on his like 5th attempt, the guy he was so bad that the guy he was sniping at didn't even realize he was getting shot at. And on his 6th attempt, he one-tapped the dude. And Call of Duty has the like 2 seconds of VoIP after, no matter how far away. And he was like, cheater. And the guy laughed so hard because he was so bad, and but he got the shot, and the guy was like, you're cheating. And like, it made me think of that. It's like, dude, if we get a kill cam, it's like if Timmy in the bush just panic sprays and gets the head tap, that's going to look like he was cheating. You know what I mean? Like, and vice versa. There's going to be times where just like a lot of people are cheating that don't look like they're cheating because maybe they don't have, you know, they don't have aimbot, but they have walls. And so like if you're out in the open and you get shot, you might be GG's to a guy who was cheating. Like it just, I don't think that's the de facto, it'll fix cheating. You know what I mean? And let us know who's cheating. Like I don't.
It's all it's going to do is lead to a bunch more false reports, in my opinion. And so like, let's say the blatant person gets a bunch of reports. I mean, it's still, someone's going to have to like manually look over it anyway. So then like, what's the point of seeing the kill cam? If it's obvious for you, then why not implement a back end kill cam just for battle state? Not, you know what I mean? But all of that was a large preface for, imagine if when you died, it just showed you on a 2D map, like the maps that they give you.
Oh yeah.
Like an X with like a line and an X.
That'd be sick.
That would tell you where you got shot from.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be so like, even if you got it instantly, even then it would be like, oh, the guy was in dorms. That's all you get. Like you don't get what floor he's on. You know what I mean? Now you could even you could build off of that a little bit more, and maybe it was like it showed you like the little red dot. But again, that would require that they like record the positions and stuff, and I don't know how much of that they do. But I mean, it's like it's so simple. When someone dies, all they need to do is say, "Here's XYZ of person A, XYZ of victim." And then just draw a fucking vector between the two of them and show you, because then imagine you look at it and you see there's a line from one corner of interchange through 18 walls of the building through, and
that's like report.
That right there is far more telling, you know, and then if you were to see a clip of it, what is it again? It's just you're just gonna hit report in all cases, whether there's a kill cam or not.
Yeah.
So it doesn't add anything other than it like it's, you know, closure, I guess you can say. But I guess I'm just rejecting the idea that people all act as if I just want to learn. It's not because I'm salty, and it's not because I don't think that they're cheating. I think that, again, I'm cynical, but I think that the vast and maybe I'm just looking at myself in the mirror because, you know, most of the time when I'm like, you know, and I die and I'm like expecting to see like the standard account name and, you know, that the name is like I cheat, you know, !111__10110, you know, or like Discord invite to some cheater Discord or something like that. I just expect to see that. It would be the same thing. Like I've already made up my mind whether I think someone's cheating or not. So,
and I still, as somebody who is like, who gives a lot of grace to the whole, like, well, maybe he was here, maybe he was here, I still get called out. That shoreline clip that I sent you, I was fighting the urge to say that guy was cheating, where like the audio messed up and he came from he was literally full sprinted up the stairs and calmed, and we heard, it sounded like it was on the other side of shoreline, the beginning of the bear calm, and then it just flipped to, it was inside of us. He killed the guy. And like he knew that there was 2 of us, and he immediately ran not down one floor, he ran all the way down into the basement after popping up, killing my guy. And I was like, that's sus. Like, where did this guy go? Where did he come from? And then I watched his stream, and he came into my chat, and he was like, GG's, I ditched your stuff. And I was like watching his stream, and I was like
imagine if his name was Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah, where did he come from? Where did he go?
I was like, that joke came like 18 seconds after you said, I don't know where it came from. I don't know where he went.
But it was like, even still, as somebody who almost never calls cheats, I'm still coming across things where I'm like, and then it's like, it was perfectly explainable. But like we said, you know, I don't want to go back down the rabbit hole, but because audio and netcode are so bad that it's just a thing. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, the kill cam thing, I have no skin in that game. I honestly don't care. I just thought what he said was funny.
Here's the last thing I'll say on that. You're already breaking my immersion by giving me a video of me dying.
Yeah.
That there's no need to make it make sense in the world by having a camera, because it's me that died.
Yeah.
It's like killing Killa 100 times. Like we're already breaking the third wall. Like we're already in video game mode. You don't have to try and fake me into, you know, oh, well, we're going to do a time machine DNA replication brain scanning so that it's actually you every time. You know, just fucking give me the clip. Why does it need to be drone footage from Peacekeeper?
Yeah, I agree. They talked a lot about the feeling of, you know, the early game, the mid game, and the late game. And, you know, the whole, like, we've heard it a million times, the whole, like, Tarkov's early game needs to be extended. You know, you kind of present a similar opinion in the First Escape from Tarkov video. Like, you're not calling it early game because it's like, you don't want it to be early game. You want it to be the game. Like, we want it to be Tarkov, where the fights are scrappy, and, you know what I mean? We don't want this perfectly segmented early, mid game, late game, you know, early, mid wipe. And what was cool was that, like, when he was asked about extending the early wipe, basically Nikita's answer was that. It was like, he didn't say it this way, but, like, if I were to kind of summarize what he said, it was like, it's not about, like, we want it to feel good all the time. Because, like, it was brought up again, and I was so glad that Nikita was able to say this. It was brought up again, don't allow the flea market for the first 2 weeks of the wipe. You know, don't open labs for the first 2 weeks of the wipe. You know what I mean? And he was like, he literally said, he was like, that will never work because people are coming in to play the game all the time. You know, what if you started the game a month late? Now your beginning wipe is like, he was like, we have to, I wrote this down. He said, we have to make the game as if there's no wipes. And I was like, okay, thank you. Like, you just want the game to feel better. So I was glad that he was thinking outside of that, like, what's the early wipe and what's the mid wipe, and he was more of just like, we want it to feel good. And he talked
flea market, cough.
Bro, I was like, my hands were trembling on the keyboard, bro, because I was like, but I didn't want to freaking be a part of the spam, you know what I mean? Especially since it was like, I made a video on it, it was my idea. Like, I just
make sure your partner logo next to your name, do it in all caps. And
yeah. Mods, can you shout out my video, please? Yeah, I don't know. I agree. But either way, I was glad that it was just good for me to hear Nikita say that specifically. Because I hate that stuff. I hate when people are like, just block labs for 30 days and the wipe would be better. I just like, I can't roll my eyes far enough back into the back of my head. Just lock the flea market for 32 days. Wait until you're level 17 and a half. Like,
it's all the same. Just add a new map,
dude.
And the game has infinite content.
Yeah. So I was so glad to hear Nikita say, not one of the streamers, but Nikita say, like, no, like, that doesn't work. We have new people coming all the time. What we are trying to do at Battlestate Games is preserve and protect the experience that we want, so that at any time anybody can come in and play and get that experience. And then he immediately followed it up by talking about how hard it is that they're doing that, like the struggle of, because he talked a lot about, like, that wipe, the very first wipe that the flea market came in. And, like, Pestilly made 100 million rubles in 2 hours because he got to the Saluas first. He sold all the Saluas for, you know what I mean? And Nikita talked a lot about the frustrations that they go on, like, if they make a change for the casual players, then the whole streaming community or the Chad community just like erupt that the game is too easy. If they make a change to make the game harder, then all the casual players, erupt that like you're, building the game around streamers and you're making it really hard. And so no like specific solutions were presented, but what it did to me was like encourage me that Nikita was basically like right in the mindset that I have, which is that like they're trying to just create a fun experience and an experience that can be replicatable and be fun for anybody at any time, an experience that rewards you for playing more than other people, but at the same time doesn't make it feel like if you play more, you just win. It was just, and he couldn't really, you know what I mean? He was struggling to communicate it, but that was like the vibe I got. And I was like, okay, at least he's on the same page that, I am like on that kind of stuff, because it is hard. And I don't pretend to know how to balance that. You know what I mean? Because you're always going to have people just min-max it. You're always going to have people trying to get to the tippy top as soon as possible. There will always be every wipe, a Twitter post, am I first to Kappa ? And everyone's like, oh, like it's just how it's going to be from now on. You know what I mean? And so them trying to figure out how to balance that out for players is definitely complicated, but I felt like his mental state around it was encouraging, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, part of that and how you can extend that and make it feel that way is this was one of the things that was new. They talked at length about a prestige system.
I heard that. I heard him say the word, and that's as far as I went, and now I'm like,
yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I think that's cool. Like, I think that is.
It depends on what that means.
Yeah, true. I think it's cool because I think it has the potential to basically do exactly that. Like, you got the guy who gets to the end, and instead of him just like, having 800 million rubles and pub stomping everybody, he starts over. You know what I mean? And so,
but what is that? But why? How is that any different than ignoring whatever you get, whether it's like an icon or whatever?
Yeah.
Then why is it that people don't just, oh, I got to level 40 now, reset my account? I mean, some people do, but that's like not the meta. So I would think that what you need to do is like reset your level, but keep your skills and maybe keep your quest progress. Imagine because if there's a billion quests and you can get to level 40 by doing a third of them or 20% of them, well, then you just reset back to level 1, maybe keep your trader rep, wipe your stash, get some sort of,
you're
you
jumping ahead. They talked a lot about a lot of this stuff. No, yeah. I mean, like literally, like Pestily was literally the very first thing he said when they talked about that was he was like, I feel like because Nikita talked, he was like, let's talk about the prestige system. And he was like, he basically said that the stage they're in with that is they're like gathering ideas. It's not like we're going to have a prestige system and this is what it's going to look like. It was coming off the back of the conversation about how do we make the mid game and the early game feel good without ruining the experience for the casual players. And so coming out of that experience and out of that conversation, they were like, the prestige system could be a way to do that. And basically what Nikita was saying is like, we've come around to that idea being a potentially good idea, but we got to make sure it's done well. And then everybody started being like, oh, what if we did this? What if we did that? And the first thing Pestily said was like, he was like, I feel like you have to find a good balance of what gets reset and what doesn't. And the very first thing he said was like my skills. He's like, I feel like I'd want to keep my skills because some of them, obviously knowing that some might get rebalanced, I'm a level 52, I'm a level 53 PMC. I have max strength and endurance and my attention is at like 7, right? So it's like, if I'm ever going to get that to 50, I'm going to need to grind it out. You know what I mean? So even if I reset, so he was talking about that and keep.
Oh God. I have ideas.
Okay, well we'll go through this and then I'll do because I want to theorycraft about it because I'm excited about this potential idea. So they were talking about what they were talking about like what would you get, like what would be the incentive, what would be the reward, and like I truly like your question around like why don't people just reset their account. I truly think that most people underestimate the power of very, very, very useless cosmetics. Like
totally.
People underestimate that power. I think
As long as you don't lose it, like the fucking armband.
I think a star next to your name in the lobby and an armband or a top. There's one top for the bear and one top for USEC. I think that those two things alone are the difference between 1% of the Chads, reset their account currently and like 94% of them prestige. I think that alone, I think people like nobody
you
has.
You want to get 99%, add USEC 4, and now you're at 99%.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, nobody has ever completed the killer grind and been like, that was fun.
I'm not gonna wear the. Not gonna wear the tracksuit.
That was a good time. I enjoyed that quest. Nobody, but they subject themselves to that literal hell that is killing that man 100 times for a T-shirt. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm all like, bro, you could at level 1, at like the worst possible incentives, I think it would work. But what's cool is that there's actually a bunch. There's a lot of cool ideas you could do. But even at the lowest common thing, you give me a star next to my name in the lobby and I get a shirt. As long as you, like you were saying, as long as you strike the right balance of what gets reset and what doesn't, we can talk about trader reps, skills, whatever. That's it, bro. And freaking have 4 levels, man. Freaking guys would totally prestige 4 times. You know what I mean? Like, because especially when you think about the level requirements, like to get from 62, which is the current kappa, to 71 is like getting 1 to 62 2 more times. So like anybody that got kappa when it was at 71 basically prestiged like 3 times. So I say I do multiple levels because I think it's, oh my God, it would just be so good. It would just it would just infuse more people in the game using stock AKs and this, oh my God, and this kind of stuff. They talked about, he talked about specific melee weapons. I thought that was a great idea. The lengths people go to get a Taiga, the Taiga 1, you know what I mean? Like,
even though all you ever do is the occasional kill a hatchling with it, you never actually like use it.
Never. I thought that was a great, like a special dog tag. That's a good idea. Symbol in front of the name. And then Pestily asked when he thought, he was like, what are you thinking about when you would prestige? And Nikita said, when you get kappa and you would take it with you. So you would prestige and have the kappa at level 1. So I thought that was just interesting. That's at least where his brain is on like when you can prestige. And that's a lot. You got to put in a lot of work to get there. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't prestige right now as somebody that plays this game as a full-time job.
But start over with daily and weekly quests and everything.
That's true. That's very true.
You'd already have prestige twice. Who knows?
That's true.
But the total XP might literally be like if you play as much as you played with all of those quests at the same time.
Yeah.
Could be 2 or 3 times the XP.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. No, I agree. Yeah. So, but that's what he was thinking. So we can theorize. You said you have some ideas. I
literally just wrote down a whole fucking design doc while you were talking. I just came up with the full design.
All right. Well, let's talk about it. But I think that like for the stage we're at, which isn't BSG saying here's how it's going to be, but for the stage we're at of them saying we've come around to thinking that this could be a good idea, I think it's a win-win, man. Because like I think it's such a win-win because it's like VoIP. When it boils down, no matter your opinion on VoIP, this is where you and me end. If you don't want it, having it in the game affects you literally 0%, like actually 0. You turn it off and it is actually not affecting you at all. But for everybody that would like to experience it, it elevates their experience in the game. This is really the same thing. If you have never gotten Kappa, if you would get there and would want to keep all your stuff, this would never affect you because you could just continue to play the game the way you would, but it would for the people that would enjoy it. And actually for others, this is actually farther than that because you could argue it creates a better experience for the Timmies having more Chads running around in Timmy gear. You know what I mean? It's a benefit. So I was just excited that they were talking about it. Even though it's far away, I was just excited that they were talking about it. So how would we do it? Tell me.
Here's my design doc. If someone held a gun to my, I haven't thought about a prestige system ever until you mentioned the word earlier today. And if someone held a gun to my head and said design the feature, this is what I would do.
Okay.
At some point, I don't know what the XP requirements are. It doesn't fucking matter, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quest that you can accept. Maybe it's like collector, in that like realm, but the quest is called escape. And maybe you need to it's almost like you need to do the guide and then turn in X dollars or something at the end or whatever. So it's like the reward for that is prestige. Now, what that then does is functionally you have escaped Tarkov. You bought your way out. Yeah. PMC number 1 is gone. Done. Put them in the fucking memory books. You are restarting Tarkov as a different PMC. Let's zoom out and then zoom back in on this other guy. And maybe you have like a randomly or procedurally generated stash. You're still level 1, but it's like it's not the same every time. You might have a key bar with like a marked room key and then like 213. And you might have like a couple of randomly modded guns. Obviously you'd have to make it within reason. You can't have 1 billion rubles and 27 fort armors, but like some dynamic thing where it's like, I'm starting with an MPX with a couple of lights on it and an SKS with a PKO6 on it, or whatever. So you have different gear, different items, different stash, but it's all around the same power level as a level 1 character. But it makes sense because you're a different person that you wouldn't keep any of your items. But also, I would argue that it would be cool if you could choose one of your elite skills and take it with you.
Oh.
And so if you prestige a second time, you'd start off with elite strength and endurance at level 1, which again is like, I contend it's a convenience thing. It's not going to be a game. I mean, honestly, think about it this way. Would you rather face a level 1 with elite strength and endurance with random gear, or a level 60 with elite strength and endurance with elite gear?
Yeah.
It's still better, right? So you pick one and everything else starts back at 1, but you get to keep 1. You're not starting at 0. Maybe your traders are all at 0. I'm not sure, whatever. But it would be really cool if there was like a leaderboard for completionism. Every time you went through, it was like chiseling your name in stone. Like Joe completed the game in almost like a high score when you go to like an arcade. Yeah. Joe escaped in X raids with X stash value. These were his stats. And there's like a global leaderboard that's ranked somehow. Yeah. So it just at least gets like stamped in stone somewhere. And then you're like, PMC number 72. This is his legendary thing. And then you're just starting over because you're not the only PMC in Tarkov. It's almost like, how a scav run is like in media res. You're just starting randomly in. This would be the same thing functionally, but a new person in the world, not a scav in raid. Yeah. I really like that. I feel like that right there is like 98. Like we're at the fucking 5-yard line.
Yeah, I really think it just comes down to a few conversations about like quests, trader rep.
And then a bunch of cosmetics. Yeah.
Quests, trader rep, and skills. I feel like it just comes down to a few conversations about like what's the best way to handle that. But I love that. I love that, like the quest, the escape. I love that you're a new PMC. I personally like the concept of keeping a skill because, like you said, you could pick strength, grind endurance up again, and then if you prestige the second time, well, now you're starting with strength and endurance. And now the next time you grind, if you're like at 38 search, I might click search because now I'll start at 38, grind up to 50 on my third prestige, and now I get to the double search thing. Like,
dude, imagine a level 50 prestige where you have everything elite.
That would be sick. That would be insane. Like you would start to like, the only time I would actually focus or grind something like attention or perception or some of these other skills is if I knew that strength and endurance were set, right? And now I'm starting my character over and I'm going to try and get this skill up. obviously that would necessitate a pass on the skills, because like right now a bunch of skills have never been gotten to elite, so their elite skill might be OP. Like, of course that necessitates that, but like, but what you're saying is that, and I agree that we're kind of at the 5-yard line there. You know what I mean? It makes sense in lore. It makes sense in the game. You're starting with a new person. I love the
Imagine
idea.
getting to see what's in your stash when you start. Like, you might just
Dude,
have a red key card.
I love that, by the way. It's like a giant scav case. It's like what you're sacrificing is your account, and what you get back is like, you could have like a red key card, or you can have like, I like that. I think that'd be cool to do something where it's like a random loadout of gear and like 1 or 2 mega rare items. And that mega rare item might be a green key card. It could be like a marked room and a key tool. It could be something on a map you use, something on a map you don't. But
maybe you just get jack shit, and
it's like, and you just have to start over.
It's like a pseudo hardcore account.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's what you prestige. You're not a newbie.
Exactly. You know what you're getting yourself into. Yeah. Man, I think that I really, really, really think that could be sick. And potentially, like, what you could even do with the quests, if you didn't want to do that, it'd be really interesting if when you prestiged, you because I wouldn't necessarily personally, now we're getting personal, I wouldn't necessarily want everyone to keep their trader reputation, because then in like 2 raids after you prestige, you're buying, you know, pretty high tier armor, pretty high tier ammo. You can,
I think it should reset.
Build an HK. But what you could do is something
maybe
like
1 tier.
What you could do is something like, you could if you prestige, you get 5 daily quests instead of 3. So instead of doing the same quests over and over again, you have access to more quests, and you're getting your traders up that way. And then if you prestige again, you have 6 or something like that. And it's like, and the reason why I think that's a good idea is because they literally built into the code of the game a quest generator that because here's my thought process there is, okay, I want trader rep to reset, but I don't want to have to do the quests again. What if they just redid the quests and they were harder and you could do them at that? Well, that would take a lot of work because all those quests are baked in. And then I was like, the daily quests, they literally put code in called the quest generator. Nobody at BSG would have to do anything. It would just flag you and serve you 2 additional daily quests. So now every single day you have 5 quests to do to grind XP and trader rep. And
if they built the system right, then that should be trivial.
Yeah, exactly. And so that would be a way to, you don't have to do now, instead of like, because that would be the other thing. I wouldn't want to force people, because all of the people at the top are like, well, I don't want to do the quests again. I think that's another reason they don't reset their account. So now you're not forcing them to do quests they don't like again, but you're providing an opportunity for them to grind trader rep and stuff like that and get all the cosmetics and do all the things. So,
and think about also the ability to all the guns, like the I mean, they could make like the fucking, what is that gun? The Mark whatever. 18? Is that the big ass?
Yeah, the Lapua. Yeah, the Mark 18.
They could make that, like, you literally can't buy it unless you've prestiged and then gotten Peacekeeper level 4 or whatever, because then it's not something you can buy or sell. You can buy it, and it should be a reasonable price. Like, not 300 bajillion whatever, so that the quantity out there in the wild is still limited. You're still only dealing with however many prestiged players are buying them and taking them in.
Yeah,
because then you get to fight him, and then you get to kill him and take his thing. It's still going to be like relatively rare.
Yeah.
But make it also so that, like, you unlock a whole bunch of other things that you can only buy if you've prestige. It's not that you get them when you prestige, but like there's, maybe you can only buy 1 or 2 clothing items the first prestige, but then, 3 or 4 more clothing items get unlocked when you prestige, and then also guns and also armor or, whatever.
Yeah.
That would make it, that would make the playthrough different, because it's like, well, it's the first wipe after this big change. I've never prestiged. There's going to be nobody running the fucking Mark 18. And then all of a sudden, 6 months in, you're going to run into the first dude with a Mark 18, and you see he's got a gold dog tag, and you're like, oh shit, holy fuck.
Yeah.
And you might see them a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, but it's way different than all of a sudden, you can just buy them on the flea market.
Yeah. I mean, they talked about that. Axel, Axel asked about that, about like giving specific types of guns or something like that, and Nikita wasn't sure. But then it was also floated around the idea of like specific trader for people that prestige, and so like there a lot of stuff like that was floated around too. Yeah, but I think it would be, I think it'd be cool. Sorry, I'm just nothing.
Hey guys, I just got here. What were we talking about? Wait, have you guys talked about kill cams? Dude, you know what?
I love that I didn't have to say, anything, bro.
Dude,
oh my god.
You know how annoying it would be? You know how they can't add kill cams into the game because then you would just tell your buddies where you died from, and that'd be bullshit.
Dude, I'm dying right now because it took everything in me not to like say something super snarky, and I was just gonna move on. I didn't have to say anything, dude.
Okay.
Oh my god. Okay. So yeah, I think the prestige system has a lot of legs. It has a lot of potential to once again.
It's a fucking big ass arachnid. It's got lots of legs.
Lots of legs. It has the potential to be everything that you and me want, which is like not a lot of development time, but the potential for a lot of reward for that time spent. You know what I mean?
Dude, people in chat like literally heard my comment and were like, "Oh yeah, true, man. That's a good point."
Oh my god.
I can't even joke sarcastically about shit anymore.
Dude, I'm in physical pain. Like we have to move on because I'm gonna
oh my god.
I'm gonna freak out.
All the people that are listening to the audio version of this, I'll say 2 words, and that is Twitch chat.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry for the audio people that don't know what's going on. Yeah. Just
I've only got one
Twitch
thing
chat.
that I wanted to like tease. I don't know how much more of the podcast stuff you have.
Okay.
So I guess I'll let you continue.
I mean, we can just like rip through it because we're at an hour 45, and I'm sure we can talk about this either next week, but we can just like rip through the rest of the stuff. Nikita was asked about if they're still planning on servers with characters that wipe and servers with characters that don't, and he basically said yes. He was like, we still want to make this game not require wipes. We want it to be a fun experience that you can pick up at any time and play. And you and me have talked about how like VoIP and connecting the maps put the game into a player-driven experience, and then I think that they're basically there. Like I think Tarkov can be what he wants, but then he also said that he really likes the idea of seasons and he actually said set time frames where the game would wipe and being able
like
to
2 years or a year or something like.
I don't know. But it's going to be separate servers, so it depends on what they change and what you start with and all that stuff. But but once again, I think that's good. I think if they nail that, it's a win-win because you can kind of engage with the game whichever way you want. He recognizes that there's different types of players: people that suck all the content dry, and people that don't care.
Yeah, people that suck.
People that suck all the content dry, and people that just want to play. And he actually talked a lot about how like the feedback from those groups of people are very different. And he was saying that like the casuals provide, he was saying on average, the casuals provide so much more feedback. Basically the example he gave was like, when I see something on Twitter that's like, yo, like therapist gave me this quest to kill, 30 PMCs on labs. Like, dude, no way. That's crazy. Like, I'm not good enough to do that. He was like, that to me gets the same point across as some Giga Chad posting on Twitter just mauling about how BSG sucks. They've never tested anything ever. How could this slip past them? Blah, 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 blah. He was like, it's the same thing. He's like, when the casual just goes, oh my God, there's no way I'm not good enough to do this. He goes, that might be a little too hard then. You know what I mean? And he was just saying that he was noting how different the feedback comes across. He was like, there's people that just like suck the content dry and just are never satisfied and want more. And there are people who are just like excited to be in the game, and they provide feedback very differently. And I was like, I find that really interesting. He mentioned that a bunch of BSG employees are like being attempted to get sniped by other development teams and stuff like that, which is kind of no surprise, to be honest with you.
Dude, I still get 5 serious email offers a day for development jobs.
Really? I believe it, dude. I believe it.
If the email starts with "Hello, Michael," I know it's a developer looking to. It's either "Hey Veritas," and I know it's a content creator. I know exactly which email it went to.
Yep,
my
that's
personal Gmail or my
super funny. They talked about the potential ability to re-roll one of your daily quests every day. Like you look through your 3, pick one, and say like,
That
screw
is
that.
really, if you're just not gonna do it, like I'm not even gonna attempt it. I like that a lot.
Me too. And a nice guy brought it up as like that would be cool. And Nikita said plant, like we're already working on it. And I was like, yes.
You're like, what you got for me, prep? Or you got that? And I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. You got anything else?
Yeah.
Any other
You
jobs?
gotta try the game. He said, you and me have talked about this before, and it's funny because as soon as he said this, the chat like erupted and like, that's a fat cap. There's no way. And that made me sad. But he was like a very small percentage of like the Giga Chads are streamers. You know what I mean? Well, we've talked about it before. Like the best Escape from Tarkov player isn't streaming. He's just no-lifing it in his basement. You know what I mean? And he was saying that in reference to people saying that like they cater to like streamers specifically and stuff like that. And he was like, you know what I mean? When we pull up the thing of like the top 100 people that have 900 million rubles, he's like, not many of them are streamers.
So I don't disagree.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. How the fuck does he know? Go into the Tarkov category and scroll down.
Yeah.
There's 9 billion people. What he means to say is they're not the 11 big names that I know off the top of my head.
But that's also what the reers mean to say too. Like when the people that are reeing that they're saying they're catering the game to streamers, they're not referring to Joe with 1.5 viewers. They're referring to Landmark and Pestily, right? So that cuts both ways. Like the people that complain, they're catering the games to streamers. It's like they don't think that John with 3 viewers has a direct line to Nikita and that he's catering the game to that person.
John with 1 viewer, and I'm saying this from their mouth, not mine. You know, this is John with 1 viewer is not a streamer.
But
if you're on a podcast, you are a streamer. So what people are complaining.
Yes, that's what I'm saying though. That's
the influential content creators are too influential.
Yes. But that's what I'm saying is that he's saying that we said the same thing just now.
I now understand what you mean.
That's what Nikita's saying. He's saying that of the 100 people that have the highest survival rate and the most money, they're not
by definition, because there's not 100 big name streamers.
Exactly, which is why it's all the more insane that chat blew up and said fat cap, there's no way. That the logic is this funny thing, isn't it?
Wait, but it almost sounds like there's 2 different things.
He didn't use the word 100. He was just saying that But
it's not No, I get that, but it's not a
stats
thing though. Like people complain because they see, insert streamer here say, here's a dumb idea. And Nikita goes, oh, content creator, great. I'm going to do that. I don't think it has to do with Giga Chads. I don't think it has to do with stats. I don't think it has to do with skill. It's just the people who are the most influential are too influential.
Yeah, but that's the thing. All of that is when we're talking about Twitch chat here, all of that gets just confuddled into like when people are mad that they feel like the game is easier for chads than it is for casuals. A lot of time that gets clumped in with like, oh, you're just catering to streamers because all the streamers are chads and the streamers are the only chads and there's no one that doesn't stream this. Like it gets.
What they mean is you're catering to Landmark and Clean and Deadly Slob and Pestily.
So and all 4 of those people have radically different play styles, which is hilarious. You know what I mean? So anyways, he was asked about unconscious states. He said that is very much the animation team. The animation team just basically exited working on the giant patch that is all of the new weapon animations and will move to like fixing those animations and stuff like that. And then potentially move back to the advanced animations suite, which is like unconscious, body dragging and stuff like that. He said that the networking... He said that they have a lot of cool ideas for that. They want to be able to do much more granular blind fire and all sorts of different stuff, which is awesome. But he was saying that like a lot of the stuff that freaks him out about the advanced animations is networking and like synchronizing. Like right now, if I kill you, it doesn't matter if your body falls to the left on my screen and falls to the right on my teammate's screen. But if I need to have the ability to drag your body around, that needs to be much more synced up, right? And so he was saying that like games like GTA 5 have done that really, really well, but but he has no idea how they did that. You know what I mean? And so he was like, we just have to figure it out. he went on this rant about how there will never be microtransactions in Escape from Tarkov. And he said never. He was saying even cosmetics. Like the streamers were like, yeah, but like, you know, cosmetic microtransactions might actually be kind of cool. And he was like, never. Like he was like, no microtransactions ever. No cosmetics. No nothing. You have to earn it. You have to earn your thing. You have to achieve these things. And like he was just like coming down so hard. It was so funny. Which is fine. I respect the hell out of that. He was saying that Scav Karma really, really informed a lot of how PMC Karma should be. So basically where PMC Karma is they've like scrapped what their original idea for PMC Karma is. It's on the back burner and they'll return to it with like fresh eyes now that they've learned so much from
that. That is music to my
yes,
fucking ears.
I
because
agree.
normally it's we learned a bunch of shit. And we're not going to change what we planned that was all based on this thing we've already done that's shit, and we're just going to go ahead and do it blindly anyway.
Yes.
I mean, amen.
Yes.
Kudos to them.
I agree. I completely agree. So because, man, and this isn't the first time it's happened. Anytime PMC Karma is brought up, the chat erupts and like, no, God, no, please, God, no, never. That's the worst idea ever, which I think is funny. But yeah, they were like, we're going to go back to the drawing board on that one. And I was like, that's probably a good thing. Talked about the customizable rigs and plates and stuff like that. That's still coming. We don't have a date for that. Other factions, the other factions like the UN forces and the Russian GRU and stuff like that are kind of on the back burner until we get Streets. And that even then will most likely, or he talked about a specific faction that'll only be on Shoreline. Like a very specific faction of people that will only be on Shoreline. I don't know. I don't forget what it was. 4 bosses on Lighthouse, bunch of bosses on Streets. I DM'd. I think he already had it written down, but I DM'd Nice Guy. I know, like you and me DM'd a little bit about this, but I DM'd Nice Guy during the podcast. I said, I'll kiss you on the mouth if you ask him about Steam Audio. And he was like, I have it on the list, but he's like, I'll make sure. So he asked about Steam Audio, and he said that that Unity. Basically, Unity was what was holding them back. Unity and the fact that Steam Audio is very CPU intensive is what was holding them back. Once they get on Unity 2019 and get their footing there, they're going to be looking into the next modules for Steam Audio. But 12.12 will bring with it a general audio pass, and they're attempting to make some of the just audio things that we all experience less egregious just by fixing them. And then we will work towards the next modules of Steam Audio.
Yep.
Which, please God, please God, it has been the bane of my existence recently. Oh my God. And then they talked a little bit about like better grouping between friends, which I think is dope. Like you could enter a group and you'll just like always be auto grouped if you're in the lobby together or something like that. Like you can just like group up for the night and stuff like that, which I think is kind of cool. So that was it. That was almost everything. I'm sure that we might dive into some more stuff next week, or I'll watch like Pestily and Nice Guys like summary and maybe pick out some more things. It's a lot of exciting stuff. I think that the things that I took away from it was like the prestige system was really cool because I think that could be potentially really good for the game. Other than that, that was when I walked away from this podcast and then kind of had this like existential like realization where it's like, okay, the days of like the Nikki leaks and the crazy podcasts are most likely over. This is all stuff we had either heard about and are just getting a tiny bit more information on, or all stuff we already knew. And I walked away from it like the podcast was top to bottom really good. I think I had improper expectations of what it could be. And then the other thing that I walked away from was thinking again, this thing that you have said that now replays in my brain, and I've regurgitated this back to you a million times in the past few weeks on the podcast, that at the end of the day, the most important thing in an online semi-competitive video game is for you to be able to trust what you hear and trust what you see. And until you can do that, we will always be less than satisfied with this game. And I've been feeling that, man. This week was a weird thing. Like the last few weeks, we were both expressing our kind of discontent with Tarkov. This past week, these past 7 days, I don't know what's been going on, Veritas. I've been having so much fun playing Tarkov, but right as I like reach the peak of like nirvana, just having fun playing video games, there's always a raid that just punches me back down. Insane lag, like egregious audio bugs. It is capped. Like the ceiling of Tarkov is below like peak fun video game enjoyment for me. And I get close almost every night. I have some sick raids, bro, like just some good encounters, and it always punches me back down. And I think about that every day, that it's just like fundamentally, until you can trust what you hear and trust what you see in an online competitive game, you're just not going to be. So like a part of me left with that too. It's like, man, I wish I was on there just to ask him that. Like, what's the status of the netcode? What's the status of the audio? Like, I mean, we got audio stuff, but I don't know, man. It's been making me so sad recently, because I've been having so much fun and such good raids, and then you just get like 1 or 2 in a row, and you're like, how are we still dealing with this? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yep. I got nothing to add. Well,
yeah. I don't know. But but the future is bright, man. I mean, it looks like 12.12 is going to be a big patch. It looks like we're going to get it this year, and there's only like 7 more weeks in this year, which is stressful. So yeah, I don't know. Was there something else you said that you wanted to touch on real quick?
Yeah, and it's only the most poggers thing on planet Earth.
Oh hell yeah!
I'm finally deciding I want to mention after so very long, because it's sort of reached a critical mass, and at this point, I feel like it's worth bringing up.
Bro, I have no idea what you're gonna say.
You might. So now this is something that I have essentially been, I'd say for maybe about a year, pretty much unable to talk about, which for reasons that'll make sense once I get into it. I'm like totally fucking like this lead up here is fucking insane. I'm sorry. But again, it'll make sense. It's gotten to the point where being secretive about it is no longer beneficial. I think it actually doesn't matter, and I want to take the opportunity to get the community to be a little bit pogged, I guess, about something that they haven't been able to be. So anyway, for the last year, I have been working with, let's just say, a network, an underground network of folks who are just like a tick dug into the cheating community. And I'd say over the last year, on a daily basis, I've been getting inside information and literally like links directly to all sorts of interesting programs that I have been able to pass on to certain parties that have vested interests in this stuff. I'll go so far as to say that, but basically, I haven't been able to talk about it because if you have like a mole, you can't say you have a mole, right? But it's gotten to the point where like there's enough people that are trusted enough in those communities. I'm not even worried. I'm not even worried at this point. I just want the community to know how much shit goes on behind the scenes.
Oh my
God. How often stuff comes out, information gets passed on, stuff happens like this, and then a week of scrambling for all these fucking creatures they gotta fix this and gotta redo this, and oh god, I got banned, and oh no, oh god, I spent all this money in my EOD account, oh god. I just want you guys to know how much is being done now granted, I'm not going to change any of the minds of all the people that have the conspiracy theory about like Nikita loves it because they're spending money. This is mostly just for all the other people that know how hard they're trying to know how many wins there are behind the scenes. It's the only thing that, in my opinion, that can make me ever feel good. Is because all the cheats and all the shit, it feels like shit, right? And it's super frustrating, and you feel like it's never ending. The only thing that makes me feel good is knowing that all of these fucking douchebags that are spending tons
Yep.
of money on cheats they're losing sleep at night over all the bullshit they have to go through when they spend the money on something that's unbreakable, and then a day after the update comes out, they're banned.
Yep.
And you see that the cheat developers and all of those communities are scrambling to, just like we envision Battle State is every time a new cheat comes out. They're like, oh, God, we got to fix everything. It's like, oh, shit, we're all banned. You know, oh, God, oh, there goes my $100 account or whatever. So just know that there are lots of legends all over the place with all sorts of access and information.
Yes.
That are doing the Lord's work.
An inside man or men or several, but they are legends.
I'm not going to assume gender.
Man? Yeah. Well, yeah. An inside human.
Let's just say love to all of the people that literally never get any credit, and they don't want credit. Some people even will spend their money to buy something to then instantly hand it over.
Oh, shoot. Wow.
They get nothing out of it. Nothing out of it. But they'll go drop $30 on the fucking EXE. So just know that there are people out there doing that kind of stuff. And
that is actually nutty.
So just this is love to all of those folks, and to everybody at Battle State and everybody at Battle Eye. Anybody that says they're not doing anything or that they don't care, you can go fuck yourself.
Yep. You know what's interesting? You know what's so interesting is that, like, what's the conspiracy theory thread that Battlestate Games loves the cheaters because they fund the game, and when Nikita says that we actually hate the cheaters, they say, well, of course that's what you'd say. You wouldn't want us to know that. What I find super funny is that, like, that's what the conspiracy theory is, but nobody believes that the reverse could be possible. Because, like, you hear all these, like, I interviewed a hacker, and the hackers say that BSG could be doing so much more. And you never walk the line backwards, where it's like Battlestate's actually doing everything they can, and BattleEye's doing a pretty good job, and the hackers are the ones shaking in their boots. But they want, in order to drive sales, they want to perpetuate this myth that BSG could be doing so much more. And it's just
they're not cheating. They're not banning anybody. They're not buying my cheats.
Dude,
they're not banning anybody. They don't.
It's
marketing.
So funny that whenever Nikita says no, we hate the cheats, everyone goes, well, of course you'd say that. But when the cheaters go like, oh, there's so much more they could be doing, it's so safe, buy my cheats, nobody goes, well, of course you'd say that. You know what I mean? Like, it's mind blowing to me that, like,
you know how many screenshots?
So set.
I mean, obviously, you know, there's been good reasons why I haven't been able to talk about this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
And why I can't share pretty much any of the information I have. I mean, this is sort of just one of those things, like, I guess you'll just have to take my word for it. Again, I'm not taking credit for any of this shit. I'm doing nothing other than just I'm a middleman.
Yeah.
You know, that people come to because they trust, and, you know, it seems as if Nikita trusts me, but shit, what was I gonna say? I forget now.
I don't know.
What was my point gonna be? Come on, finish my.
We were talking about how nobody believes that Nikita, you know what I mean? Like, nobody believes the reverse.
Oh,
of
right.
their
Okay, so
conspiracy.
I don't know if I've ever sent them to you, because every now and then I'll take one and I'll send it to, you know, somebody that, you know, I have a friend or I trust or whatever, because you don't have to worry about that, you know, to some extent. But, like, the number of screenshots I have where it's just a full panic session from like 7 or 8 people in a cheater chat, whether it's a forum or Discord or whatever, being like, you know, literally a day after there's a big update to the game, big update to cheat, transfer of information. Everybody's fun. I'm banned. Are you banned? Oh God. And then all of a sudden the green light saying download, it's undetected, all of a sudden turns orange, and it's like, run at your own risk. Do not buy or install this software. You can buy it and you can run it if you'd like, but just if you get banned,
yeah.
not our fault.
God.
You know?
I would
and just know that it's like, you are safe. It's undetected so far, which might as well mean.
Yeah,
it's like saying your house hasn't burned down yet, so it's so you should buy it, it'll never burn down.
Yeah. What's the speed limit? Oh, go 85. There's no reason for me to believe it's not 85. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, what? That doesn't help me. Like,
I haven't been pulled over yet.
I haven't been pulled over yet. Yeah. That's so funny. Oh, I would pay money to just like read those as bedtime stories. The cheaters just freaking out, spending that money thinking that they are safe.
I'll be like 10 years from now when like the Tarkov servers have, you know, like collected dust and they've shut off and we're all like in the drift playing the VR headset into your neural fucking pathway. You know, whatever. Yeah. That's when I'll share all of the stuff because the hard part and the reason why I haven't been able to talk about it and the reason why I can't share it is because it would actively go against. If I was like, here's a screenshot, then people would know, like, oh, I said that. Yeah. That means there's someone in our Discord.
Yeah.
You know, that means it has to be, fuck them.
Yep.
You know, so it's unfortunate. All I can say is that I am so fucking happy when I see this stuff and it's out there and it's literally every day. Every day I am sending stuff back and forth from loads of people everywhere. I just want you guys to all just smile.
Yep. Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. That's so sick. That's so sick. Smiles in the chat, boys. Oh, that's dope. Man, I hope they all stub their toe really hard.
I hope their fucking parents and their grandparents get audited by the IRS.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Fuck them.
Yeah. Get it.
Is that too far? I don't think so.
No, man. Because it's just inconvenient, right? Because it's like either you're evading taxes and you're going to go to jail, which you should, or it's just like, you know, it's inconvenient. You know? All right. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just about everything. Podcast was awesome. Obviously, a huge shout out to Nikita for taking his time to do that. Huge shout out to like Pestily, Axel, and Nice Guy. It was a great podcast. They asked great questions. It was good information. And I think, you know, where we are is we're just here as per usual, just kind of like waiting on the patch. It's going to be, I mean, they didn't give us any dates, so I don't know. It's like looking back for the past 3 years, there's been a day patch on Christmas or Christmas Eve for the past 3 years. So I feel like we can have some sort of guesstimation there.
You heard it here first. Jesse said 100%.
Yep, Christmas wipe. They're going to double wipe. They're going to wipe. They're going to let servers be up for 2 hours, and they're going to wipe again. Just to mess with you.
I hope.
But yeah, we got some cool stuff. We got some cool stuff coming. Do we want to tease like next week or no? Yeah?
No, because it might not be a thing.
Okay.
There's other stuff going on with other games.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe not.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Okay. Well, we got some cool stuff coming. Potentially. Later on. Maybe.
Get excited for something that might happen later that we're not going to tell you anything about.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the community. It's fun. It's good stuff. We got some cool information, and yeah, well, this will be like normal to be live or early next week. You know, we delayed it a little bit so we could talk about the stuff that went on today, and we will definitely catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.